This is my game, Sundercore. I've been developing it on and off for the past few years. Throughout that time, it's seen a lot of changes. And after taking a break from game dev the past year to focus on securing the bag, I've since returned and decided to start fresh and completely overhaul the game. I basically rewrote the entire game from scratch and redid most of the artwork. The result? Everything just works better now. The code is cleaner, and I've created new, more flexible systems. This means I can add more cool features to the game without turning it into a complete mess under the hood. Now let's talk about the main character. I've given him a fresh redesign. I wanted to reduce the complexity while maintaining the important features, so allow me to introduce the new and improved, streamlined Sergeant Griggs. Personally, I'm really happy with this redesign, and I think it looks a lot better than the original. Not only has the playable character undergone a makeover, but his guns have a slight redesign too. I redid the shooting and reloading animations. Previously I was using this really lazy shine effect for the reload animation, but now it has proper unique animations for it. One cool thing about the character sprite and animation system is that I can independently swap the head and body sprites and animations. So in the past, the head and body animations were connected, but now they're in separate sprite sheets. This opens up new possibilities for adding more animations and personality to the characters. Imagine special head animations for specific actions like roaring or shouting when you get a multi-kill or something. I could even introduce character skins that allow players to mix and match head and body designs, and gun skins too. Character customization is something I love in games, and I think most people do too, considering customization is such a huge part of games these days. So I think it'd be really cool to have challenges or something to unlock skins and stuff like that. One thing I saw people commenting on about the previous devlogs was that it wasn't obvious enough when the jetpack was being used. Although I love the old goopy liquid jetpack design, it's time for it to go. Instead, I went for a more traditional futuristic approach. Now the jetpack emits a beam that hits the floor, accompanied by an arrow effect. This provides much clearer visual feedback, making it easier to see where the player will land and when they activate the jetpack. Personally, I love the new design, and I think it's more visually appealing and more intuitive than the original. As you can probably tell, the environment for the first level has seen a huge upgrade. There's more plants and foliage, and I've redone most of the artwork. Even the tile set for this level has had a huge overhaul. Previously, I thought I did kind of a lazy job with it. There was multiple places where I hadn't accounted for a specific tile, and I left it with these like awkward connection tiles that just didn't look right. So first things first, I redid the tile set and added support for all possible tile connections. This was a pain in the ass, but the result was worth it. One thing I wanted to do was make the levels feel less static, but it's hard to find a balance because you don't want the environment to be too visually distracting if there's an enemy encounter happening on screen. So I made this nice little wind effect that sways the trees and foliage. First I had to split up the sprite into multiple pieces and draw those pieces to the screen one on top of the other. Next I can basically just add a rotation to each piece individually and calculate their new X and Y positions based on that rotation. Add a sine wave function in there, and now the tree looks like it's swaying an imaginary wind. Next I have an invisible wind object that collides with the trees, and when it collides it increases the strength of the sway, creating this cool dynamic wind effect. Even things like the UI and HUD have seen a huge redesign, but I think I'll wait to go into that in more detail in the next devlog. One thing that I am going to reveal in this video is the new playable character. After all this time, we finally have a confirmed, finished design for the second playable character. I'm still working on a name for this guy. His backstory is that he's from an alien race that has translucent blue, gelatinous flesh, but still has a hard skull that protects his brain. They're kind of like a slime humanoid hybrid. If you guys have any suggestions or ideas for the new name for the character, please leave them below. I want each character to feel unique, so I'm giving each of them a unique weapon and active item, and slight variation on their starting stats. So for example, Sergeant Griggs is going to be the only character to have dual wielding weapons, and Slime Skull here is the only character to have a starting shotgun. If I do a lot of unlockable characters, they might have dual wield or shotgun weapons, but at least for the first starting 5 characters, they will all have unique weapons. I have plans for a character with a laser rifle and maybe a melee weapon, but that's for future development and future devlogs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.